It's good to have you here, and I am so grateful that we had quite a few people first service who had their Pride paraphernalia on, and they've gone to the Pride Parade. So happy that we will be well represented there. That was wonderful. And today's talk title is Be a Part of the Grand Scheme of Things. Don't separate ourselves. Be a part of the grand scheme of things. Oh, and by the way, I should introduce myself. I'm Kathianne Lewis, and I'm the spiritual director here. And my pronouns are she and her. And I answer to almost anything. Hey, you know, no titles necessary. Kath, anyway. Starts with a C, I'm going to probably answer. Or a K sound, I should. Anyway, there we go. Anyway, I have a trivia for you. Why not? Trivia. Anybody like game shows? Okay, here we go. If you know the answer, you can't, I see you, Jim. I see you. He was here first service, so What does Meister Eckhart, remember I started with Meister Eckhart? He said that what God wants for you is a peaceful heart. What does Meister Eckhart and Ulrich Tolle have in common? Now, first of all, Ulrich. It kind of sounds like all rich. I mean, it's rich. I mean, that's kind of a cool name to name a kid, don't you think? I mean, that's sort of setting him up, don't you think? I mean, Ulrich, you got to live up to the name. I don't think I'm going to have any sons yet or anymore, but my next dog, Ulrich. Cat, something like that. That's all. Tim said no more horses, so it's going to have to be smaller than that. So anyway, so anybody know what they have in common? Well, you kind of have Meister Eckhart and Ulrich Tolle, yes, you are right, because before Eckhart Tolle became Eckhart Tolle, his name was Ulrich. And he changed his name to reflect his appreciation of the 13th century monk and his teachings. He loved the teachings so much that he changed his name to reflect that. Meister Eckhart said, and I love this, how many of you pick and choose? I pick and choose what I like. If it supports what I already think, I'm going to quote him. So anyway, Meister Eckhart said, theologians may quarrel, but the mystics of the world speak the same language. He was a mystic. He was considered a mystic. He was also so far ahead of his time that even though he is now accepted in many Christian circles as a great mystic, he wrote in the 13th century when most people were illiterate. When they could finally figure out what he was saying, they excommunicated him. He was already dead, but they still did it. I love that some people think they have that kind of authority. Guys, in heaven, having a good time, and that he gets the evacuation notice. I'm sorry. You can't be here anymore because they now know what you said. So I think it's interesting. Aren't we funny? Aren't we funny? As human beings, we're just a hoot. Anyway, in June, we've been looking at We Are Family, and what I want to say is that we belong to each other. If we're family, we belong to each other. My sister, my brother are part of a family. We belong to each other. We get to expand our idea of who we're related to, and maybe come up with the idea that we're all really related. And that's hard to understand because it looks to me like we're not related, especially at Thanksgiving. You're not invited. I love you. I want you to have a great Thanksgiving, but I can only have room at the table for 6. So it's not that kind of family. But I want to just shift the phrasing just a tiny bit and say that we're all in the body of God or the universe. We're all part of a system. An organic living system. We're part of it. And I had this revelation when I was doing this talk, because in the Bible it says that God created humans. He said men and women, and now we know there's all sorts of things in between. But God created human beings in its likeness, not its likeness, their likeness. It says in our likeness. It's plural. Even in all the translations, they can't justify getting rid of the plural. Isn't that interesting? God created humans in our likeness, and let us create them in our likeness. And some people have interpreted that, and, because it's all interpretation, really. And this is a valid interpretation if you're going to read it very literally. That means God's got to look like us, thus the Mormon church. I was Mormon, I can talk about it. God is a guy in the sky with wives. Us. I mean, it's an all interpretation, it's cool. But it occurred to me last night that maybe in our image means the human being operates like the cosmos operates. And maybe that's what Paul meant when he said we're all the body of Christ. And Christ is the spiritual essence that is incarnated into creation. We're all the body of that creation. Judge Thomas Troward said that nature is the face of God, so is it too much farther to go to say we are the body of that God, that universe, that living intelligence that takes form and expresses itself just for the fun of it? I mean, if you don't think it's having fun, think platypus. See what I mean? So if we are the body of God, that means that we can start to consider how does our body work, and this is the way things work. For instance, my fingers and hands seem separate, and yet they're connected, and they seem separate than the other organs and the operations of my body, but anything happening to my body will affect the rest of the body. There is a connection, there is a flow. What seems to be connecting all of us together it seems like blood, but if you went to Chinese philosophy, it'd be qi. There's something always connecting us, flowing through us, maintaining us. So let's play around with that just a little bit. Let's expand it a bit, which means that a healthy person affects other people to be healthy. I'm not sure I said that, or I know I said it. I know I spoke in Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago, and I know I said it there, and I'm not sure if I said it to you, but remember in May when I did the talks that were based on the works of David R. Hawkins? David R. Hawkins started out as a psychiatrist. And he had at one time the largest psychiatry clinic in the United States with over 100 doctors and other clinicians. Huge. And before he really started his work on consciousness, he noticed something. He noticed that about 5% of the clinicians, whether they were a doctor or counselors or whoever they were, about 5% had amazing results. Like people, they were done. I'm healed. I'm better. I'm over this phobia. I'm through this heartache. I'm willing to take the job. I'm not procrastinating anymore. Whatever they came in with, they were over it so quickly. And so he started to study those 5%. And what he found was, and how many of you, when you see something that's an anomaly, you figure out what really happened? How many, I know what's happening. So what he knew was happening is that they were not using the same techniques as the other doctors. So he wanted to know what the techniques they were using so he could teach the other doctors so that they'd have better results for everyone. Guess what? They were using the same techniques. They said they did the same intake. They had the same processes. But they thought that the client would get well. The others, 95% thought, the client has a problem. That's consciousness. That's the power of us being together. That's the power of what I think about you influences you. What you think about me influences me until I know that I am only influenced by the living Spirit Almighty. Then guess what? I've been inoculated. And all of you can be. I mean, marketing is a huge, huge industry in the United States because it knows that we really want to be approved of and be in with the in crowd or whatever. And what we're really doing all the time is who we are influences the body of God, which shows up as you and me and everyone else. You, me, and everyone else. But let's also go back to that blood thing. What flows through us, all of us, is the Spirit of God. Always flowing, just like the blood and the chi and the energy is always flowing. For those of you that are into the more Eastern philosophies, there's energy flowing through us. So no matter how you look at it, there's flow. And in that flow, when we really participate in the flow of God flowing through us, so sometimes we pray, God is in us, as us, and through us, through us. And when we get to that through us stage, that presence of God starts to eliminate the toxins within us, the toxic behaviors, the toxic attitudes, the toxic habits. Anybody got one? And that's actually part of the study of some of our books. I mean, not only our books, but of our classes. Because what I have found is that in mysticism, letting God be God in us is easier and more potent than us trying to continue to figure stuff out, to make ourselves better, which leads me back to Meister Eckhart. Meister Eckhart said, God, I love this, this is a quote, God desires urgently, not just, God kind of desires. God desires urgently that you get out of the way. Ah, beloved people, why don't you let God be God in you? Why don't you let God do what God does in you? It takes away the toxins. What does the blood do? It takes away that which needs to be removed. Then what does God leave in its place? It leaves truth and love and joy that makes life satisfying. So he went on to say that God is an ever-present energy, not a guy in the sky. He was Catholic. Well, everybody was Catholic. It was the Middle Ages. I mean, it's 1300s. You didn't say you were anything else. You're either with us or against us. So he was, of course, with them. He was Catholic, but he said God is an ever-present energy that wants to flow into and through us, but it's been blocked because we are too full of ourselves. Ooh, can you see why they got a little upset? And what that means is that we are what keeps God from being God in us. Doing what God does. Just as the blood is to renew the cells and take out the things that the body no longer needs, so too is Spirit there to renew our soul and take out the things from our consciousness that we really don't need. I just need to be honest. Can I be honest? I sometimes say that we are here to help you heal your hurts and to build your dreams, which will be the byproduct of what I'm really here for, which is that you have more God in your life. More God in your life. To have that sweet experience of something undescribable but real happening in your life, flowing through you and renewing you if you think about it, this whole thing about flow, I love that, because in the body, a lot of the problems that people have are caused by blockages in the heart and the arteries and things not working properly. Cells run amok when they're not well taken care of, and so do we run amok when we're not allowing things to flow through us, when we become too full of ourselves. And sometimes the full of ourselves is, if it is to be, it's up to me. And how am I going to do it? I was just talking to someone after second service, and first service, he's been here for years, and he said, I just don't know how to not work at it. And I really refrained myself, and I didn't just, how many of you ever watched NCIS? You know how Gibbs would sometimes go poof against the side of the head? I didn't do it. It is a spiritual practice, being touched by a holy person. Thank you. See, God does have fun. Anyway, this is probably one of the hardest things that we can take on, which is to convince the ego that it can relax. You want to know a really hard spiritual practice? Relaxing and letting God be God in your life. Whew. See, we can say that God is our source, but then we somehow picture it, or that it's out there and all our good is going to come to us instead of move through us. That's a different metaphor. It's a different experience. Meister Eckhart said that we're like a wine bottle. I love it. 13th century. What are you going to drink? You're going to drink wine. Water's polluted. Anyway. So he said, all of us are wine bottles with a cork in it. And the cork is our worries, our doubts, our angers, our fears, our distractions, and our limited beliefs about God. That's 1,300. Wow. And what he said is that when we finally uncork that and uncork ourselves and let God flow through us and fill us, we become filled with love and compassion, acceptance, courage, and creativity. Who wouldn't want a little bit more of that? Like, yay, yay. So the talk, this is just the setup. The talk is how to uncork. How to unblock ourselves from the flow of God that is normal and natural. It's natural. If nature is the face of God, all things that are healthy flow. Air that doesn't flow becomes stagnant. Water that doesn't flow becomes poisonous. We are here to let that flow through us, knowing that if God knows how to move the energies of the solar system in ways that are balanced and harmonious, then move through me in ways that are orderly and balanced. So number one is become aware of flow. Notice it. We become so solid in what we like, and we don't understand that everything's flowing, and that's natural and beautiful. I was reading something about churches, because that's, kind of my hobby. And I read that progressive churches, we're a progressive church. When we re-examine the way that God is and give a new name to God, that's pretty progressive. I read that progressive churches really are changing their ideas about God and their relationship with God, but don't change the structure. Do you know that when we change songs or change the order, why didn't you do that? Anyway, we're so funny. So if we all get used to flow, then I could change things around and you'd like, oh, yay, instead of what'd you do? What'd you do? So become aware of the flow of your thoughts and your emotions. Start with your breath. It goes in and it goes out. The food goes in and it goes out. Everything is flowing through you as a physical being. Notice your mind. Thoughts come and they go. The only thing that keeps a thought in your mind is that you pay attention to the thought. If you just like, oh, there's a thought. It'd be, you know, how many of you get embarrassed with your thoughts and then make yourself wrong? I shouldn't think that thought. Why did I think that thought? You know, you're very holy because first service all raised their hands. They really did. They all raised their hands. I think those thoughts and then feel guilty. Why did I not like that person? Why was I critical? I should be above criticism. How many now who thank you? Gee. It's also been shown in studies that emotions last about 40 seconds unless you pay attention to it and then magnify it. And then what you do is it just comes back around and around and around. But if you go, oh, well, there's and then it's gone. Oh, sadness, anger, it just is part of the rhythm of creation, and it flows in and it flows out, and that's what mindfulness is. It's just knowing you are the observer. That thought isn't you, that emotion isn't you. You're watching it happen, and then you're free of it. Now that's Buddhism in 20 seconds. Number 2, initiate flow. If there's something that's missing in your life, start to give it away. If people aren't friendly, start smiling. If people aren't friendly, start saying hello first. If you want encouragement, encourage others. If you want attention, give attention to others. If you want appreciation, appreciate others. If you want help, start helping others. It's all a flow. Jesus said that as you give, it shall be returned to you, pressed down and multiplied and running over. But a lot of us wait. I don't have enough, especially with money. You don't have much money, give a portion of what you've got away. Give it, give it, give it. Multiplied, pressed down, running over. And I've proven this, there's no reason I should have the money I have. I don't understand it. But I do know, and my husband watches the letters go out as I'm giving to all these charities. It's like, wow, you support a lot of organizations. Yes, and look at how we got money. It has to come back. Pressed down, running over. It's so fun. But a lot of people want to wait. Well, until they appreciate me, I'm not going to appreciate others. No, stop it. I mean, really, spirituality is really easy. Don't do what hurts. Do what feels good. Appreciating others feels good. Smiling at others feels good. Loving others feels good. Being generous feels good. It does. It's so simple. And the ego, it can't be that easy. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. What's God want me to do? Be peaceful. Number 3, notice and pay attention to the times when you are less than satisfied and fulfilled. Pay attention to those. And ask yourself, am I taking over management of my life and trying too hard? Because trying too hard does not feel good. And then we try harder. How many of you know that? My friend, after first service, works really hard at doing something that he loves, but he works so hard at it, he doesn't love it anymore. Number 4, do the eternal 12-step program. We should all be in the 12-step program because it is so inspired by God. You start out with my life is unmanageable, and then I'm just going to skip to the other part, and so I'm turning it over to my higher power. If you're not happy, your life is unmanageable because you've tried to be happy. If you're not content, Your life is unmanageable because I know that you're trying to do things that would make you content. It's okay. Let God flow through you and bring all the things that God brings with it. And honestly, not only Meister Eckhart says this, but I say this. When you contemplate the presence of God, you will have more love, more compassion, more truth, more security, more creativity, more sense of purpose, more sense of rightness, more sense of it's all going to be okay, not only for me, but for others. And I have the courage to stand up and be the principle of the living God Almighty, even when it doesn't look like people want to hear it. All that because you've let God be God in you. Who wants that? Okay. Woo! Yes. Oh, yes. So, I want to lead you to the part that we practice in one of the classes, which is right now there's a year-long scientific Christian mental practice class, and they've all got to the place where I'm going to let God do everything and I won't do anything to make this happen. Oh, they're having problems with it. Oh, no, it's hard. So I want you to have the experience of flow where you can't do anything about it. So this is going to be called a prayer exchange. So take your pieces of paper. Everybody got a piece of paper? If you didn't get a piece of paper, Patrick's here and he'll help you out. You need a piece of paper and a pen, and there's usually pens in the seat backs in front of you. Don't write anything down yet. Not yet. Because if you think you've done this before, you haven't. Not this. It's a little bit different. So let me preface this by saying that spirituality, not religion, spirituality, having spirit be present in your life, is about the warmth and love of God flowing through us and fulfilling itself in and as us, showing up in our emotions, our finances, our physicality, our mental abilities, our sense of well-being. So on the piece of paper, you're only going to write a word or maybe two that you want God to show up in some area of your life. I want God to show up. You don't have to say, I want God to, because we're all going to do this. Say, I want God to show up in, what is it? Finances, physical self, relationships, career, whatever. I want God to show up. You want the flow of God in that area, taking away the toxic beliefs you have in that area and giving you the blessings of spirit in that area. Does that make sense? So it's like, just like the blood flows in through the cell or outside the cells, takes away what needs to be taken away and leaves what needs to be deposited, spirit will do that in that area of your life. Write down the area. And then fold up this piece of paper. Thank you. And now we have a whole bunch of people coming through and wait, did you get yours? Yeah, okay, coming through and taking taking the pieces of paper. Everybody, see, now I'm taking it away from you. You can't even pray for it. You want this? It's not yours anymore. It is now going into the great basket in the sky, represented by this basket that's flowing through. Everybody, wonderful, thank you. Just make sure that, okay, everybody is on this side. Oh. Everybody on this side's done. Nope, I still see some more. Back there, Michael's still getting some. Okay, everybody's there? All right. Wait for this side. We got them all? Everybody's put it in? Great. You go that way. This goes this way. So now you're going to pull out a piece of paper. Now please, just pull out a piece of paper. First service. It's not a Ouija board. Just pull out a piece of paper. You know?
There's no $1 million.
There's no $1 million. It's not going to be the right one. The right one is what you pull out. Now, when you get the piece of paper, open up the piece of paper, and that's what you're going to pray for, that God is moving in your life in that area. In your life. And you may say, but I don't want that in my life. Here's the deal. We're all one, right? Isn't it easy to believe that somebody else is blessed, easier than believing that you're blessed? So what you're going to do is say, this is happening in our community. One of the things that works when I teach a class or do a retreat is that I watch people have breakthroughs, and it's like popcorn, and other people have breakthroughs. So as you accept something for yourself that you didn't figure out and that you're not real attached to, it's going to happen for others. So for those of you that want a better relationship, we're all going to have better relationships. For those of you that want better finances, it makes all of us have better finances. Because guess what? We're all connected. We belong to each other. And this is actually a study that was done by people that study this stuff. Oh, let's just keep going, but listen to me. I mean, this is important. Take the piece of paper and listen to me. Studies show that when you're working on something and you need something and you really want something, how many of you have ever prayed that way? You're affirming you don't have it. So by praying for something that you didn't write down, you're not attached. Who cares? Okay, I can pray for this. It's not my prayer. Well, I'm going to give it my best shot. We're all going to be blessed by your work. I want some hands. Who was willing to promise that they will pray that God is working in their life in the area that they got on the piece of paper for a week? I'm only asking a week. I'm going to be here next week. I expect miracles, and so it is.